What you're about to see may challenge your understanding of reality. Across the vast and varied landscape of the United States, there are places so disturbing, so saturated with mystery, and so steeped in death and folklore, that stepping into them feels like crossing into another realm entirely. These are not your average spooky stories or haunted house gimmicks. These are 10 real locations with real histories that have terrified people for generations. Whether it's cursed lands, haunted mansions, or tunnels echoing with the voices of the dead, these 10 sites carry with them a legacy of fear that defies logic. So, if you're fascinated by mysteries that make you question reality, buckle up. But before we jump in, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're pulling back the curtain, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Let's dive in. The Winchester Mystery House is a labyrinthine Victorian mansion infamous for its confusing design and haunted history. Built by Sarah Winchester, heiress to the Winchester rifle fortune, the house was under construction 24/7 for 38 years. Sarah believed she was haunted by the spirits of those killed by Winchester rifles, and that constant building would appease them. The result is a sprawling 160-room mansion with staircases that lead to nowhere, doors that open into walls, and secret passageways. Despite its beauty, the atmosphere is unsettling. Visitors report footsteps when no one is around, cold spots, and whispers echoing through empty halls. Over 12 million people have toured the mansion, and numerous paranormal investigators have documented strange phenomena. It's not just a house. It's a monument to fear, guilt, and madness cloaked in Victorian elegance. Opened in 1829, Eastern State Penitentiary was revolutionary in its use of solitary confinement, which aimed to reform inmates through isolation. However, the method led to widespread mental deterioration. Inmates were hooded, kept in silence, and lived in stone cells with minimal human contact. The building, with its castle-like Gothic architecture and crumbling halls, now operates as a museum and haunted attraction. Visitors often report shadowy figures, ghostly whispers, and an overwhelming sense of dread. Notably, Cell Block 12 is infamous for echoing laughter and moving shadows. Paranormal researchers, including crews from Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters, have recorded temperature anomalies and unexplainable noises. The prison housed infamous criminals like Al Capone, but it's the suffering of the forgotten many that seems to echo most powerfully in the stone walls, creating an aura of lingering anguish that few walk away from unshaken. Waverly Hills Sanatorium is often cited as one of the most haunted buildings in America. Built in 1910 to treat tuberculosis patients, the hospital saw as many as 63,000 deaths over several decades, though official numbers are debated. The Death Tunnel, a 500-foot chute used to discreetly remove bodies, adds to the facility's grim legend. Visitors and ghost hunters report phantom voices, apparitions, and cold spots. One of the most disturbing legends involves room 502, where a nurse reportedly hanged herself after discovering she was pregnant out of wedlock. People claim to see her ghost in the room to this day. Paranormal researchers frequently record electronic voice phenomena, EVPs, and shadow figures throughout the building. The combination of real medical tragedy, horrifying living conditions, and confirmed death toll makes Waverly Hills more than just a haunted house. It's a historic epicenter of suffering with a residual presence that refuses to fade. The Stanley Hotel inspired Stephen King's The Shining, and its haunted reputation is well-earned. Opened in 1909, the hotel boasts elegant architecture and panoramic mountain views, but behind its charming exterior lies a history filled with ghost stories. King stayed in room 217, where he claimed to see ghostly children and hear unexplained noises, inspiring the creation of the Overlook Hotel. Guests and staff often report hearing piano music from the empty ballroom, luggage being unpacked when no one is there, and sightings of the hotel's founder, F.O. Stanley, roaming the halls. The fourth floor is particularly active, with reports of children laughing, lights flickering, and items moving on their own. The hotel embraces its haunted status with nightly ghost tours and paranormal investigations. With over 100 years of documented ghost sightings and frequent media coverage, The Stanley remains one of the country's most elegant yet terrifying lodgings. In 1912, the quiet town of Villisca, Iowa, was shattered by a brutal and still unsolved crime. 8 people, including 6 children, were murdered in their sleep with an axe. The house where the Moore family lived remains almost unchanged and has become a focal point for paranormal activity. Visitors report children's voices, unexplained banging, cold spots, and objects moving. Some investigators claim to have seen full-body apparitions. EVPs recorded in the house include chilling whispers like, "No, no," and "He's still here." Tourists can even spend the night, and many report being too frightened to stay until morning. Despite numerous investigations, no solid explanation for the murders or the ongoing activity has ever been found. It's not just the violence of the past that chills visitors. It's the overwhelming sense that something evil lingers, watching, waiting, and occasionally revealing itself to the living. We're halfway through this terrifying journey, and if your heart is still racing, you're not alone. But now, we want to hear from you. Have you ever visited any of these places? Do you believe in the paranormal? Or do you think there's a rational explanation behind these mysteries? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read them all, and tell us what you want to see next. Urban legends, creepy cryptids, haunted hotels? This channel is for the curious, the brave, and the ones who don't mind sleeping with the lights on. If that sounds like you, give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and join our community of fearless explorers as we dig deeper into the unknown. Often referred to as one of America's most haunted homes, the Myrtles Plantation dates back to 1796 and is rumored to be the site of at least 10 murders, though historical evidence confirms only one. Still, countless visitors report ghost sightings, particularly of a former slave named Chloe. Legend says Chloe was mutilated for eavesdropping and later hanged by fellow slaves. Her spirit, dressed in a green turban, is said to appear in photographs and windows. The plantation also reportedly houses the spirits of 2 murdered children who have been seen playing on the porch. Other phenomena include footsteps on empty staircases, handprints on mirrors, and antique furniture moving on its own. The plantation's eerie beauty belies the suffering and violence that permeate its history. Ghost tours and overnight stays are popular, but many guests leave early, citing an oppressive atmosphere and encounters too real to dismiss. The legend of the Bell Witch is one of America's oldest and most terrifying ghost stories. Dating back to the early 1800s, the Bell family claimed to be tormented by a malevolent spirit. The entity was said to speak, manipulate objects, and even physically attack family members. The patriarch, John Bell, reportedly died as a result of the haunting. Today, the Bell Witch Cave near the original Bell property is believed to be the spirit's home. Visitors report hearing voices, footsteps, and growls, and some even claim to be scratched or pushed by invisible forces. The legend has inspired films, books, and documentaries. The cave itself is narrow and claustrophobic, intensifying the psychological effects of its eerie reputation. Despite extensive study and skepticism, no one has debunked the phenomena entirely, and it remains one of the most mysterious supernatural sites in the country. Centralia is a modern ghost town with a hellish twist. In 1962, a coal seam beneath the town caught fire and has been burning ever since. Toxic gases rise through cracks in the earth, the ground is unstable, and eerie steam clouds the landscape. The population dropped from over 1,000 in 1980 to fewer than 5 people today. The U.S. government invoked eminent domain and condemned the town, effectively erasing it from maps. Visitors often describe it as post-apocalyptic. The burning underground has created sinkholes and deadly gas vents, and some residents claim to have seen ghostly figures in the smoke. It inspired the fictional town of Silent Hill in the video game and movie franchise. The combination of environmental disaster, abandoned buildings, and a surreal atmosphere gives Centralia an unsettling presence, as if the earth itself is haunted, poisoned by a fire that won't die. Skinwalker Ranch, also known as Sherman Ranch, is located in northeastern Utah and is a hotbed for paranormal and extraterrestrial activity. Reports include UFO sightings, cattle mutilations, poltergeist phenomena, and strange creatures resembling the Navajo legend of the Skinwalker, a shape-shifting witch. The property has changed hands multiple times, including ownership by billionaire Robert Bigelow, who used it for scientific research into the paranormal. Security is tight, and surveillance systems often malfunction inexplicably. Investigators have recorded electromagnetic anomalies, inexplicable lights, and severe physical reactions like nausea and disorientation. A 2020 History Channel series, The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, documented ongoing bizarre occurrences with scientific equipment failing to offer clear answers. What makes the ranch particularly terrifying is the sheer diversity of phenomena. It's not just haunted or alien or cursed, it's all of them, layered in ways that defy explanation and resist understanding. The Hoosac Tunnel, a nearly 5-mile-long railroad tunnel through the Berkshire Mountains, earned the nickname the Bloody Pit due to its grisly construction history. Over 190 workers died between 1851 and 1875, many in explosions, cave-ins, and accidents. The worst disaster occurred in 1867 when an explosion trapped 13 men. Their bodies were discovered months later, huddled together with evidence they had survived for days underground. Ghost sightings are common. Lanterns flicker in the darkness, disembodied voices echo, and figures appear on the tracks before vanishing. The tunnel is still in limited use today, adding an eerie modern danger to its already haunted reputation. Paranormal investigators report intense energy changes and even time distortions. It's not just the deaths or the setting that haunt people. It's the inescapable sense of being watched and unwelcome, as if the spirits of the lost workers are still laboring in the dark. If you've made it this far, you've walked through the fog of forgotten history, stood at the edge of cursed grounds, and peered into the places where darkness lingers long after the sun goes down. These 10 terrifying locations are just the beginning. America is full of secrets waiting to be unearthed. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, one thing's for certain. Some mysteries don't fade with time. They only grow stronger. So if your curiosity is still burning, don't leave without liking this video, subscribing, and ringing that bell, because the next story might just be the one that keeps you up at night. Until then, stay safe, stay curious, and whatever you do, don't go alone.